Meditation reveals the inside secrets. As we go deeper in our inner consciousness, we realize that the process that connects us to the world is a double-edged arrow. Every time we live in the society, as we walk around, as we go through our life, every time we have desires, every time we look at things, our attention, our awareness goes and attaches itself to the outside object, person, situation. And this attachment is almost like an arrow that we threw out into the samsara. The arrow that goes out and attaches itself to different objects, people or situation. We are so busy in the object, looking at the object, trying to get the object, and trying to acquire something, we never pay attention to where the arrow came from. Our consciousness, our awareness is the key thing for our whole life. Whatever we wanted, we have thrown our awareness out and then acquired those objects. So whatever we are is because of our past activity of throwing the arrows and getting things from samsara. And we are trying to accumulate. But where are we going to accumulate? All our accumulation so far are result of our inner desires. Every single thing about us is all about desires. All our thoughts that we have right now, all our ideas, we have accumulated by going out, studying different things, reading different books, talking to different people, exposing ourselves to the media. All those things ultimately come back and create an impression on our mind. These impressions keep on accumulating over decades and even lives, turn into vrittis and vasanas. And these vrittis and vasanas keep on making us come in the next life to fulfill the desires that we have not finished yet. And again, the cycle of new life starts, and the mind keeps throwing the arrows, looking for the things that it has desired from the past experiences. So it's like a repetitive cycle that has been going on for eons. The only thing is that in meditation we have to trace these arrows backwards and find out the infinite pool of awareness from where all these arrows are being thrown out. It's like the reservoir of energy, reservoir of awareness. And this reservoir has been able to keep generating the arrows which are going out. And in the process, it utilizes the mind and the body. Mind can create the exit for the arrows to come out. And mind is a sophisticated instrument that has been created for only this purpose, so that it can go outside and utilize the body. Even the body has been created with all its 5 senses to acquire different objects, people, situations. All these have been created. That's why in primitive animals, they had basic minds. They did not have sophisticated minds like humans. Again, sophisticated minds are the most sophisticated instrument created to fulfill the desires. All the 5 senses do not exist with all the animals. Many animals have only 1 or 2 senses. But as desires become more and more powerful, more and more senses open up. And for those senses, body has to be modified. So the animals become humans. And life goes on. As you can see, our new generations are coming smarter and smarter day by day, because we have increased the desire for intelligence. So more and more intelligence is coming in the newer generations. So evolution is happening right in front of us. But the whole crusade, the whole process remains only on one thing: desire. Because of our desire, we need some instruments to fulfill those desires. So we, by our own inner instincts of many generations, many lives back, we have created more and more mind, more and more body, more and more sensitivity. But ultimately, these acquisitions never really enter anywhere. If you smell a rose, the smell of the rose goes into your nostrils. The rose remains outside. And even the fragrance of the rose comes through your nose, fills your lung, and leaves. The only thing that leaves behind is your experience of the enjoyment, and that stays in your mind. Mind is nothing but collection of experiences, and layers and layers and layers of experiences have accumulated in the mind. And we live our life based on these past experiences. Even our desires are for the objects that we have enjoyed in the past, and we want more of it. But if you look at the ultimate source of awareness, where everything is coming from, things become clear. The awareness comes from the very remote source of infinite consciousness, which has no shape, no size, no color. And from this infinite reservoir of consciousness, if you look at the whole process, looks like the mind and the body and the sansar, these are all working with each other to create more impressions. But these impressions even remain at the mind level. So mind is nothing but layers and layers of impressions. All the impressions have come from outside. But the consciousness that's within is like a mirror, where the reflection happens for the things which are in front of it, but it never enters into it. Everything stays at the mind level. Mind is nothing but memory. There are many things we forget. They fall out of our memory. There are a lot of things we remember that stay within our memory. And this memory, which is still alive, becomes our ego. That is our identifications. We identify ourselves as such and such person's son, such and such person's father, such and such person's brother. These are all memories, and we don't want to give it up. We are afraid to shift from the mind to the Atma. Atma is the reservoir of consciousness, where there are no impressions. Whatever comes in front of the mirror watches it, but does not get involved. There is a clear difference between the mind, which wants to go and attach to the objects in the front, because mind has been created to acquire the desired objects, people, situations. So mind's function is to run out, gather things. But mind is still an inferior product of the total consciousness, which has been around forever. And it is like a mirror, which cannot go and accumulate things. The only thing it can do is observe. So if we go backwards on all the arrows which are coming out and are being shot out through the mind and the body, find the origin of these arrows, and little by little, with little practice, you will settle in the huge reservoir of awareness. And that's what we are. The only thing is, right now, we are so busy throwing the arrows outside that we never pay attention to all the reservoir of awareness. So in the quiet moments of the meditation, go within, find out this reservoir, stay within, and that's where the ultimate pleasure is. Because from that angle, if you look at it, mind and the body are nothing but accumulations, or the instruments to accumulate things which never really make it to us. Just like the rose never comes in your body, the fragrance leaves your body, just the impression remains about the beauty. And our life is nothing but about the impressions of all the events that take place. But we are dealing with impressions, images, rather than the reality, which is way beyond the mind. So the enjoyment that happens in our mind is only of that contact with the outside objects. But because we are so busy running after this, we never get the glimpse of this reservoir of consciousness, which makes everything happen. So realize the futility of repetitive running after the objects, accumulating all these impressions, dealing with impressions. It's almost like you had taken pictures of all your journeys and all the events that took place, and now they are sitting in your basement, accumulated over thousands of years, literally, through multiple lives. And now you have all these things in front of you. You don't know how to deal with it. The amount of memory stored the complexity of all these relationships that you have developed and the impressions that you have gathered, all these things becomes a huge database. And all this database is about the past. And as we are busy managing this database, we're holding on to the memories that we don't want to give up. We want to recreate more and more memories so that we can cherish. In this process, we are so busy dealing with our collections that the whole life that is in front of us, that's passing by, we are never available to enjoy. So drop all this past and stop creating new impressions by staying in the consciousness level and observe the universe. Watch the flow and let it flow, realizing that if you try to capture anything and try to put it in your mind is going to expand and expand and expand, and you will be passing beautiful time that we have available in these past memories rather than enjoying the freshness of the flow of life that's happening in front of you. Have a good day.